This is my 2002 Mini Cooper S that I bought sight unseen at an online WeBuyCars auction. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it's like buying a car at WeBuyCars with specific emphasis placed on buying one at auction. Then I'll take it out for a drive and show you everything that's wrong with this vehicle. And then I'll try to determine whether this was a stroke of luck or whether I've just committed financial suicide. Stay tuned.
Now, if you're anything like me, you spend way too much of your time browsing shit boxes on the internet, imagining what it would be like to own and drive them. But you never actually buy one. You're essentially just window shopping because you're being responsible. Well, that is until that one day. That one day where you see a car online and you just think to yourself, I can fix her. Well, this is exactly what happened to me a couple of weeks ago on a random Thursday morning where I found myself on WeBuyCars website. I was looking at some insane cool cars, but I couldn't afford any of them. So what did I do? I went to the auction tab, I filtered by auction end date equals today, and I sorted by price lowest to highest. Then, on the very first page, I saw this 23-year-old supercharged pocket rocket of a vehicle and I was intrigued. With the reserve price set at just 47,500 Rand, which is about a 13th of the price of a brand new base model standard Mini Cooper before you spec any options. By the way, that Mini Cooper comes with hubcaps. And if you were to replace those hubcaps to make space for some nice John Cooper Works mags, well, that would set you back the same price as this entire car. I also saw that the car was based at WeBuyCars Silver Lakes, which is about a 10 minutes drive for me, so that's very convenient. So I looked at the Dekra report and I expected the worst, but it really didn't look that bad. It only had one roadworthy relevant item listed, and that was that 2 rear tires needed to be replaced. So that's pretty straightforward. I thought to myself, this deal looks way too good to be true. And, well, you know what they say about things that look too good to be true. Yeah. So after doing all the car guy maths in my head, I decided that I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to place my very first bid. I literally waited until the auction was pretty well done. And with about 10 seconds left, I placed my very first bid. And I got outbid straight after. So I thought about it a bit more this time. And you know what? I placed another bid and got outbid again. So this process continued a few times until I placed a bid and, well, no one else bid again. So let's look at what that looks like. Oh shit. No, it's better. Oh shit.
Oh my gosh.
What did I do?
Oh. Engel, you bought it!
I was now the official owner of this brand new 23-year-old Mini Cooper S, and my heart was racing, both from excitement and from pure stupidity. So I grabbed my keys and rushed to the dealership. But before I reveal this car to you, let's quickly go over the whole WeBuyCars buying process, specifically buying one at auction. So WeBuyCars hosts daily auctions at all of their dealerships. So the auctions will actually start at 2 p.m. and then finish the next day at 12. This gives you almost 24 hours for you to visit the dealership and inspect the vehicle, look at it, take it for a test drive, so that you don't buy it sight unseen like I did. Yeah. Now, before you can place a bid on WeBuyCars' website, there's a couple of things you need to have in place. So firstly, you need to create a WeBuyCars account. And secondly, you need to pay an auction deposit. So the auction deposit amount is 4,000 Rand, and this you can pay on the website. Once they have received payment, what you can do is you can simply head to the auctions tab on WeBuyCars. So this will allow you to actually see people that bid on the vehicle, and obviously enables the button for you to place your own bid. Now, once you have found the car of your interest, you can simply click on the listing where you'll find lots of information about the vehicle, such as performance specifications, the make and model, mileage, all those things. And they also have quite a lot of images of the vehicle. So all angles will be shown. They'll show you the interior, they'll show you the engine bay. And right after that, you can click on the Dekra report, the much debated on Dekra report. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about that today, but there are lots of opinions about it. But anyway, it is a great starting point. Regardless of what you think about the vehicle, more of that will be revealed in the Dekra. So go through that in great detail. Zoom in as much as you can. Some of the image quality on WeBuyCars' Dekra reports are very low. Like for example, if they show a picture of the diagnostics report, sometimes if you zoom in to the maximum, you won't be able to make out any of it because it's too blurry, but still use it. The Dekra is by no means a silver bullet, as you'll see later on in this video. So once you have won an auction, you'll get an email explaining what the next steps are, what documents you need to bring along to the dealership, and so on. There is also an option for you to have WeBuyCars transport the vehicle to a WeBuyCars branch closer to you. This will cost you in some cases. So I believe if it's between dealerships in Gauteng, this will be free of charge, and prices ranging from other branches to wherever you are can range between 2,500 and a maximum of 10,000 Rand. So let's get back to my story. I hopped in my car on my way to the WeBuyCar dealership, forgetting all of the documents that I had to bring. And about 5 minutes into the drive, I get a call from a WeBuyCar sales rep, and he asked me when I would like to come and collect my vehicle. So I told him I'm about 5 minutes away, and he was very surprised. So it does not sound like that's something that happens very often. Anyway, he said that he's going to prepare the vehicle for me and that I should just ask for him at the sales desk. So I get to WeBuyCars, I hop out of the car and walk to the sales desk, and I had to wait quite a while for him, but then he came driving to the front with my Mini. And that was already a victory in my eyes because one, now I at least know that the vehicle actually exists, and two, it runs and drives. I then gave the car a quick inspection and I was asked if I would like to take it on a test drive, to which I obviously agreed. Now, it has to be said that at this point, you've already agreed to buy the vehicle. So you won't really be able to back out of it unless there's something seriously wrong with the car that was not made visible on the listing. This can be something like it's a non-runner and it didn't state that it's a non-runner. Remember, WeBuyCars do sell non-runners, but they have to put that on the listing itself and list it as a non-runner. Another thing could be that maybe it got into an accident on a test drive while it was on auction, and obviously this was not on the listing or in the pictures beforehand. So after scanning my license and a quick security check, we hopped in the vehicle and the sales rep was in the passenger seat, and just driving out of the dealership, I thought to myself, there's something seriously wrong. The suspension was kind of non-existent, or it's hard to explain because it was super stiff. It felt like what I think a Formula 1 car suspension would be like. But then on the other hand, we were like bouncing around like crazy, just driving over the smallest bumps in the road. Now I knew this was not going to be just replacing 2 shocks or 2 springs or whatever. I knew this was going to be big work. And it was especially disappointing since the Dekra report made no mention of suspension damage. It actually listed it as expected, meaning that yes, it might require some work in the future, but it did not mention that it was a roadworthy relevant item. I can tell you now that if I took that car to a roadworthy facility expecting a pass, they would have laughed in my face. So I soon found the second red flag. This Mini did not have a glove box. It was actually an option back then, and this one was not spec'd with a glove box, which is a fun fact that you probably didn't know of. Now you might ask yourself, why is it such a red flag if a car doesn't have a glove box? Well, that's not the point. The point is that in a glove box, you usually find the owner's manual with some service history. So I'm suspecting that because it doesn't have a glove box, it's much more likely for something like the owner's manual and any receipts or service history to go missing. And that seems like it's been the case because I could not find service history for this car at all. I then asked the sales rep, listen, this advert said that the car has partial service history. So I asked him what exactly does this mean? And he just told me that it's got service history from the dealership. So when it was still under motor plan, you are able to find that service history if you go to a BMW dealership, which is true. But I mean, every single car was once a new car. So every car would have this available. My question is that what do they exactly then mean when you see a car that states no service history available? If you know, please let me know in the comments. Now, It goes without saying that for any vehicle, you would want as complete service history as possible. But for a car like this, it's especially important. An old performance car, this is not the type of vehicle that you do not want a trace of service history. So these two major issues, the suspension and the service history, that made this project from being a 3,000 Rand quick fix to, well, you can pretty much times that by 10 now. But apart from these two major issues, I must say the car really didn't feel too bad. I mean, it ran great. It kept its temperature. The gearbox was pretty smooth. The clutch was fine. Interior was a bit rough, and there were a couple of other small things like fast blinking blinker, and the radio doesn't work and so on. But nothing that you won't expect for a car that's 23 years old. So after the test drive, we went to the coffee shop and we filled out some electronic paperwork, and I was instructed that I need to pay an instant payment for the outstanding amount of this vehicle. So as you saw on the auction clip, the total price of the vehicle was 52,500 Rand. So that is the 54,000 Rand for the vehicle, plus a 2,250 Rand admin fee, and then minus the 4,000 Rand auction deposit, which I already paid. Now, if you're curious, this whole process took around 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. It was a bit longer than I expected, but I guess it is a pretty big deal buying a car. It's just important for you to note that you cannot just quickly go and do this in your lunch break like I try to do. So, some of you might still be asking, was this a smart purchase? No. The answer is no. Look, I really love this car. I've spent quite a bit of time in it now. I've serviced it. I've been on a couple of drives, and it's great. It's an awesome car. It's so nippy.
This thing is so much fun. Oh, I love it.
It's got character. That's the main thing. It's got character. But let's not beat around the bush. This was not a smart purchase. But I do think that you can make a smart purchase and buy a car at auction at WeBuyCars. You'll just have to be a bit smarter than I was. And the reason why I think that you can still get a good deal on auction at WeBuyCars is because one of the other sales reps told me that 90% of the cars that they sell on auction actually goes to other car dealerships, meaning that those dealerships buy cars from WeBuyCars at auction. They then spend a few thousand Rand just to fix all of the major issues, but don't think they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart. All of these costs get transferred to the customer. So now you're paying markup at WeBuyCars, you're paying markup at the other dealership, and you're also paying a markup on the services and parts that they had to supply that vehicle, because they now have to pay an employee to go and sort these things out. So yes, there might be less risk if you do it through a dealership, but you can expect to pay much more for the same car. So yes, you can get a bargain, but here is how I would do it in the future. And yeah, I know I'm the last person that you'll take advice from. It's like that saying, do as I say, not as I do. But the very first and most obvious advice would be that you need to go and visit the dealership where the car is being auctioned at. Go to the dealership, view the car. You must touch it, you must feel it, you must smell it, freaking taste the vehicle for all I care. Maybe I shouldn't advocate for that, but you get my point. I would actually allow myself some time. So go to the dealership of a car that's going on auction the next day, go to the dealership on that day and view the vehicle. Ask to take it for a test drive, ask some questions about the car itself, and then also give yourself some time to think about it. This will ensure that you do not make an emotional or an adrenaline-fueled decision. So the next day before the car is auctioned off, you can then decide what is the maximum price that I'm willing to pay for this vehicle. So set yourself a price and stick to it. Also, just make sure that you do proper research about the car that you're buying. Go onto Reddit forums, read up about the car online if you don't already know everything about that car. Honestly, the thing about buying a car used, especially an old car, is you just have to do more homework. So that's the dragged out version of my first WeBuyCars buying experience. Now for the 4.5 of you that watched till the end, thank you so much for doing so. I don't really know where exactly I'm heading with this build, but first of all I need to get it roadworthy, and then I just want to make it pretty, get it back into close to its original condition as I can possibly get. And then let me know what you want to see. Do you want me to mod it? Do you want me to just restore it back to its original condition? Yeah, let me know in the comments. So like, subscribe, don't hate, donate. I don't really know what to say on this YouTube stuff, but thanks for watching and stay tuned. You just... Okay.